Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for One Piece chapter 1027. When we last left our heroes, the fight against Kaido continued. Luffy convinced Momo to take a bite out of Kaido, doing some serious damage to Kaido, and then instilling him with the courage he needs to do basically whatever Luffy wants him to do, in this case being stopping Onigashima from coming to the Flower Capital. Meanwhile, a Mary witnesses all this and accidentally reports Luffy's return and Momo's new dragon form to the Alliance, boosting their morale. Meanwhile, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi were kind of struggling in their fights against Perospero and Jack because the arrival of the dragon fight had put clouds in the sky, blocking the moon, blocking their Sulong forms. But then Luffy and Kaido went at each other with a pure Clash of Conquerors hockey, parting the clouds, revealing the moon, allowing the Minks to defeat their opponents, as Orochi, who is still not dead, looked on. So that's where we left off. So let's dive right on into chapter 1027, Danger Beyond Imagining. Our picture here is of Roger gleefully running from a lion whose face he scribbled on. We also have Buggy and Shanks in the corner. They're both up a tree. Shanks is laughing. Buggy's kind of panicking over the fucking lion they're fighting. Anyway, we see the fight is over. We're with Nekomamushi in particular, I should say. Sorry. And Carrot and Wano, who are watching the fight, Carrot runs up to him. Boss Nekomamushi! Hey, be careful you don't turn Sulong. For some reason, the moon's out again. And we see somehow Nekomamushi is un-Sulongified? I thought as long as the moon was out, he was Sulong, like a werewolf. But maybe I'm just misremembering that. Anyway, we open with, or we then cut to a full view of Onigashima, the clouds parting, and I think this is Yamato. I read about this in the journal, when Roger and Whitebeard met in combat, and we see Yamato and Momo just in shock at Kaido and Luffy's clash. The heavens split open, and we see down below some of the pirates react. What just caused that rumbling? Whoa, what's happening up there? And Luffy and Kaido still stare each other down. And Yamato puts his hand to his head. And he sees the blood, that Thunder Bagua. I thought I blocked it, but I didn't even come close. And then Luffy calls, Yamao! Help that coward out! And Momo reacts, huh, who are you calling a coward? And Luffy gets onto him. You! Come on, Momo, shape up! So there's an interesting thing. I've noted in the past, specifically I think in 1024, that the specific nature of both Momo and Yamato's characters could very well be filling the same role in the, returning the Kozuki clan to Wano. How Momo is, the kin, the son of Oden, and Yamato is the sort of successor to Oden, as named not just by himself, but by the samurai who agreed with him back in the cave a few chapters ago. And now we're having the two of them paired together. So I'm curious where Oda is going with that. But anyway, Momo snaps, shut up! I know what I have to do! But people do not just change their nature in minutes! And Yamato gets on top of him. You'll be alright, Momonosuke. I'm with you. Sorry about leaving your side earlier. And Momo looks up, Yamato? And Kaido looks over at that new pairing. Yamato, Momonosuke. Where do you think you're going? And Kaido leaves Luffy to run at Momo. Momo panics. Gah! But then he thinks, Kinemon, Kiku, give me strength. I promise I'll do my part. And he flashes back to what, for all he knows, is Kinemon's final words. Take Lord Momonosuke and flee! And we see Momo kind of shivers. And he's shivering so much that he breaks the rock he's gripping with his claws. The rock falls to the ground. And Yamato gets onto him. Hurry, Momonosuke! And Kaido catches up. He would hit Momonosuke, but Yamato blocks him with his own club. Gah! Momo panics. But Luffy jumps over, kind of loops Kaido's neck with his legs. And calls, Yamao! And Yamato looks at him. I know. You want to take this one yourself, don't you? And Luffy just grins. Yeah! That's a good fucking Luffy face. I'm here for this, the pure joy in taking down Kaido right there and being understood by Yamato. But Momo falls. Momonosuke! And Momo panics. I'm gonna die! And Yamato tells him, grab the sky. Grab it? Dragons don't fly, remember? Huh? You create the clouds, then grab them. And race through the sky. That's what a dragon does. Okay, so I'm curious if that's just... I don't think that's tied in with Yamato's own devil fruit. I think that's just he grew up watching Kaido do that. And so he has kind of first-hand knowledge of how dragon flight works. But yeah, that's what's going on. He's creating clouds, as we kind of saw last week when the two dragons created the whole storm. It seems to be a very minor version of that. But with that, Momo is in the air. He is full-on flying, ready to go. Those clouds are called flame clouds, Yamato tells him. But then we see some rocks from Onigashima falling. Huh? And Yamato tells him, get away from the island! And then he whacks the clouds away, protecting Momo, and Momo kind of panics. Eek! Huh? Oh, it's not just a few stray rocks. The whole island is starting to fall. The island's starting to collapse. Huh? And Yamato looks up. Could it be that Kaido's power is weakening? And that's making the flame clouds unstable? They're not able to support the rock, and it's cracking and falling away. Oh, when we see Kaido in that panel just before this one, he's breathing heavy. He's starting to get worn down. That is our first definitive sign that Kaido is starting to weaken. He is tired. You know, we've seen that through the past 10 chapters with all those Tobiropo fights. Kaido is very slowly, he's been fighting for 35, 40 chapters now. He is exhausted at this point, I think. And that might be what Luffy needs to win. Who knows? But Momo focuses, it's a disaster waiting to happen. I won't let it go to the flower capital. I turned big in order to stop this island. And he headbutts Onigashima. Yamato stops him. That's not going to work, Momonosuke. Huh? But there's no time. Just look. And Momo turns back. The capital is so close. We will arrive in no more than 5 minutes. Yeah, they're right on the top of the flower capital now. But Yamato tells them, then make more flame clouds. Kaido created gigantic dragon-like clouds, and that's how he's moving this island through the air. The only thing that can push it back is even stronger flame clouds. And Momo responds, what you speak of is impossible. I only just learned how to fly. And I may not have the same power as Kaido either. But Yamato tells him, you made flame clouds, didn't you? I know you can do this. And Momo kind of reacts, and Yamato continues, the situation is much more dangerous than we imagined. Even if it settles down on land the way Kaido envisions, there will be terrible losses within the city. And in the worst case, if Kaido should succumb first, the flame clouds will vanish and Onigashima will plummet to Earth. There's an incredible stockpile of weapons within the island. And explosives. Oh. Onigashima's a giant bomb right now. If Luffy wins, Wano kind of falls if Momo can't do anything. Onigashima might as well be a giant bomb. At this distance, there's no way the citizens can evacuate in time. Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad. If the island falls, everyone will perish. Friend and foe alike. And Momo panics. What? Then maybe we should stop Luffy. And Yamato whacks him. Don't be stupid. Yeah! You want to stop the man putting everything on his back and standing in the line of danger for everyone? No one but Luffy can beat Kaido. We can't tell him about this. We have to get through this danger. We have to get through this danger without anyone finding out. So yeah, it's the two of them, the two successors of Kozuki Oden alone, protecting Wano with no one finding out. And with that, we come down to the Skull Dome, as the Beast Pirates are being kind of thrown back. Yeah! Get down! Master King's totally lost it! And we see King is just cutting through the walls of the performance floor. Zoro is barely holding him back with his own blades. Ugh! And King glares at him and just keeps... I'm not even entirely sure how he's doing these cuts. But he is. Maybe they're just projectile cuts in the same way Zoro's are. But I'm not quite sure what he's slashing. Like his pterodactyl wings? Either way, Zoro is thrown back into the room where Frankie is. Whoa! And Frankie catches him. Zoro, Excuse me. And Frankie looks down. What happened to you? And Zoro looks up. Man, he's strong. But of course he is. And Zoro starts to pick himself up. And Frankie asks, what's happening out there? You want help? But Zoro pushes him aside. No need. Zoro himself is also pretty weak right now. Queen, back on the performance floor, gets on to King. Damn it, King! Knock it off with a chaotic attacks. You sliced my butt! And King looks at him, wish I'd sliced your neck. Oh, but we see the Beast Pirates react. What? Pirate Hunter Zoro just damaged King's mask. And we see King has those two little spikes to the side of his mask. One of them is gone. It's not really an attack on King, as it didn't actually hit his body, but it is damaging King's outfit, which I guess is the same thing. And Frankie sort of looks on. Oh, no wonder he snapped. Oh, this is still the Beast Pirates going. After all, nobody knows what King's face looks like. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Because there's this theory that's popped up in the aftermath of learning that King's a Lunarian, that like Sanji might be part Lunarian somehow, right? Somehow also tied in with the Germa 66 backstory. And if that's the case, then maybe if King's face is revealed, which I think that line all but tells us that it will be, he's going to look a little bit like Sanji. That's my bet. King will look at least somewhat like Sanji. I'm just guessing. Anyway, Zoro tells Frankie, sorry, Frankie, you gotta stand back. You got it. Good luck, man. Frankie just backs off. But King goes back on the attack. Imperial! And Zoro readies 3-sword style. Ultra Archer! And Zoro counters with his Tiger Hunt. And the two attacks sort of hit each other. King seems to just be hitting with like one of his wings, I think. And Zoro deflects it with his swords. And then it looks like maybe there's another tiny hit on like the top of King's mask. Zoro is still kind of blown away though. Hits the walls. And maybe goes through the door or through the wall outside Onigashima? Maybe? Possibly. That's a lot of rubble for it to just be a few thin little walls. But Zoro is coughing up blood. King is going after him. And Zoro reacts, huh? And yeah, they're outside the Skull Dome. Huh? Wait! And Zoro is falling. I'm falling! 2-sword style. Clear lance! And he like slashes with his swords and somehow I think he whacks the air so hard it creates the air pressure he needs to bounce back onto the island where he lands. He's like clearly out of breath, a little panicky there. That was close. At least let me die by the sword. Show a little respect. And King, now a big part of his mask gone, or not a big part, but still just like the top corner of his mask gone, we can see his hair, responds, I'd ask the same of you. To be continued. Okay. Yeah. So, there's a good bit of stuff happening in this chapter. It's not really a big chapter. Not really. We get a little bit of the Luffy-Kaido fight continuing, and then it's with Momo and Yamato for most of the rest of the chapter, talking about, a new countdown clock, a new problem with the situation. That, like, even if Luffy wins, that doesn't really save anyone. Because if Luffy wins without Momo doing anything, the flame clouds disappear, Onigashima, this giant bomb, basically, drops onto the ground like it's fucking Age of Ultron, and blows up at least Onigashima and the Flower Capital, if not all of Wano. So yeah, that's not good, and Momo needs to get his shit together, or else everyone dies, and he has to do it fast before Luffy wins. Because if Luffy wins early, then we're fucked. And Luffy's kind of the only one who can actually stand up to Kaido right now. Yeah, it's Luffy alone. And the way this is set up, by the way, this is the final battle with Kaido. Luffy's not going to lose again. This is where he comes back and he wins. It's not really this countdown clock this new aspect of the countdown clock, I should say, does not work if Luffy will lose this fight. So Luffy is 100% winning this fight. That's my bet. This is like not in the way that like Luffy was always going to eventually beat Kaido, but like this is the time. This is the fight that Luffy beats Kaido. He's not going to get knocked off the island again. He's not going to be knocked unconscious. He's not going to be rescued. Luffy wins here. And that panel, or this page 11 confirms that. You know, the countdown clock is until Luffy wins, which will happen. When Luffy wins, the island falls, and Momo must have stopped the island by then. That's a matter of when, no longer a matter of if. Luffy will win, and that's what this page is telling me right now. So that's great. I'm so excited to see that play out. This is the part where Luffy wins. But with that, we come down to the Skull Dome for a bit more Zoro King action. And there's not a whole lot to glean here, just that King does not want his face shown. Which makes sense if he's like the last of a race, right? But there's still just like, because we don't get to actually see his face. We see one corner of his head. And that's not really enough to really start gleaning any more theories on, beyond if he does kind of look like Sanji, that sets up some more of the still kind of small-scale Sanji Lunarian theory. There's also this bit about Zoro seems to almost be... Both Zoro and King are kind of expecting that they might die here. You know, Zoro's line, "At least let me die by the sword, show a little respect," shows that he thinks he might... I think shows that he thinks he might not make it out. He almost certainly will, because this is One Piece, and very, very few people die in One Piece. But he might not. He might not make it. I doubt he won't make it, but, you know, he seems to think that King is a big enough threat that he might not make it. So, to the point where he's choosing how he dies. You know, he's not... He's saying, you might kill me, and if you do, let me die by the sword. It's not, I'm going to win, play fair, or something. But then also King says the same thing. And actually my initial reaction to I'd ask the same of you was that it's a response to "let me die by the sword." I think it's actually a response to show a little respect. Zoro's second line there. Because we see Zoro is slowly but surely destroying King's mask. And that's the respect King wants, to have his face not shown. I think. That's my theory. But yeah, that's this chapter. Hardly a big chapter, but it's setting up a lot of what's to come. Setting up Momo's big play in the finale of this arc, and continuing the Zoro King fight, as we get to know a little bit more about King. That he's a little bit face shy, for certainly like plot relevant reasons, but definitely that's going to come up in a big way by the end of this arc, I think. So yeah, all in all, fun chapter. Not the biggest chapter in the world, I'd say, but still an all in all pretty fun time. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!